everyone, bonjour and welcome back to VivaTech 15, your weekly show on tech news from all around the world. I'm at VivaTech headquarters in Paris, in our kitchen, as you can see behind me, where we cook some great episodes every Thursday. So today, we're going to talk fusion energy with Michel Laberge from General Fusion. You know, their mission, just get ready for it, it's awesome. Transform the world's energy supply with clean, safe, and provide energy access to all. That's such a big challenge. But before I welcome Michel to the kitchen, let me give you the big picture about fusion energy and General Fusion. It's time for the Insider. So now, I've done some research on fusion energy, and here are a few things that you need to hear. Fusion is the energy that powers the sun and every star in the universe, creating heat and light. It's, wait for it, 4 million times more powerful than coal, oil, or gas. This one is even more crazy. You need to reach 150 million degrees Celsius. How crazy is that? 1 kilo of fusion fuel replaces 10 million kilograms of coal. And now, if this thing works, we estimate that in 2030, fusion energy will represent a $1 trillion market. And now, a few facts about General Fusion. General Fusion was founded 20 years ago from a garage in Canada. It now employs 165 people in Vancouver. Their technology is unique in the world, positioning them on the forefront of fusion energy. They count a wide range of investors, including Jeff Bezos and the Canadian government. Well, let's now welcome Michel and jump to the kitchen talk. Hello, Michel. Welcome to the kitchen talk. How are you today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. This is a nice day today. I'm quite happy.
So where are you joining us from?
Oh, I'm joining from a little ski resort called Silver Star near Vancouver, British Columbia. And it's pretty sunny. And I'm going to go and do a few runs after this show.
Oh, wow. Lucky you. So, Michel, it's great to have you on the show. For people who don't know you, you're the founder and chief scientist of General Fusion, a world leader in fusion energy, and you're truly transforming how the world is energized by developing the first commercially viable fusion power plant. Now, let's talk about fusion. So if you had to explain it very simply, you know, let's say to a 5-6-year-old, what would you say?
All right, fusion is the reaction that runs in the sun. So if you want to see fusion happening, just look up. This big bright ball there, there's fusion in there. That's what makes the energy for it. On Earth here, we want to do that using some hydrogen that we extract from the ocean. There's enough fuel there for running the whole civilization for 1 billion years, and it's cheap to extract. However, you have to heat this fuel to the same temperature as the sun, which is 100 million degrees C. So I repeat that, 100 million degrees C, so that's quite hot. So the problem is to hold this very hot gas together. Now, if it touches the wall of the chamber, it's going to evaporate everything. It's just too hot. So the way we're doing usually to do that is we use a magnetic field. And this gas is trapped with the magnetic field and doesn't touch the wall. Then we heat the gas by throwing energy at it, like we pass electrical current in it, like a toaster. We shoot microwave oven on it and all sorts of different things. And then the temperature goes up and up. And when the temperature is very hot, the molecules go very fast. They crash into each other. They fuse. The two hydrogen fuse together to make an helium. So the output from the plant is helium. You know your party balloon with helium in it? That's what comes out. So it's nice and safe. There's not much radioactivity, and it would be fantastic. But it's difficult to do because this temperature is very hot.
Oh, wow. So many people refer to it as nuclear energy. What are we talking about? Is it the same thing?
Well, it depends what you want to talk. Like normally, people understand nuclear as fission, where you have a uranium atom, and you split it in two, and this is the nuclear power plant. Today they work that way. And the problem with that is when you split the atom, the 2 bits that are left, they're pretty ugly. They're radioactive and they're nasty. So it makes some radioactive waste not so good. So this is what you normally understand by nuclear. Now, fusion is actually a nuclear process. The two fusion thing that cut together their nucleus. So this is called really nuclear, but it's completely different than fission. And because the word looks the same, fusion and fission, everybody's confused like hell. So pay attention. It's fusion, not fission. Fission is the old one with the nuclear uranium, and this fusion is the new one with hydrogen.
Right, so it's
Different. Pay attention.
very different. Very good.
Yes.
So let's get back to fusion energy. So how much of a game changer is it for topics like climate change, for example, Michel?
Well, this is why I'm doing fusion. I decided to quit my old job doing laser printer and started a fusion company because I wanted to save the world from global warming. So yes, if
Well
fusion
done.
happened and and we replace all the power plant on the universe that are running on coal and whatnot, and we replace that by fusion, then we have solved the carbon emission. Now there'll still be all the carbon we put in the past, so it's not, and also it'll take a long time to replace that. This is going to take like 30 years to replace all the system. So there's still going to be global warming, but hopefully we'll reduce it in the future if fusion pans out. Because
Right.
I guess we're a little too late.
Right. So Michel, that sounds really exciting, and I love your energy. So tell us. You said it's very complex. So when will it be available, and who is the most advanced in this area?
All right, so fusion typically have been run by the government lab have been working on it. In France, there's a big machine called Aptera, which is a big, it's called a tokamak, which is a magnetic field holding the plasma together. And they hope to finish this machine in about 10 years or something, but that will not produce electricity for the grid. It's just a test to make sure we can do. If that works suitably, they want to make another big machine that will take another 20 years after that. So this is the normal government operation. Now, me, Michel Laberge, I decided that this was too slow and I wanted to go faster. So I started a whole new company, General Fusion, to do that. So we are kind of separate from the big lab. And also the technique we want to use to actually hold and cook this gas is different. The big tokamak, they use like particle beam and radio frequency. Is very expensive and complicated, superconducting coil, all sorts of complicated name. Me, I want to use piston with steam pressure. People can understand that. It's cheaper than laser and it's easier to do. And I want to compress my plasma to a high temperature. So the technique I want to use is different. And hopefully we can go faster. So our timeline is we will produce the ITER equivalent, which is a test, but not a power plant, in about 4 or 5 years. And if that test is successful, we would like to have a power plant on the grid making electron, running your toaster in about 10 years. So this is the sort of time scale that we at General Fusion want to do. Now, we're not the only one. There's a whole lot of little companies out there that are springing left, right, and center with different ideas of how to do it. And they all promise about 10 years. So basically, the government is promising about 40 years, and the little guy like us promise 10 years. Let's see who wins here.
All right, let's see who wins. But which one is more realistic?
Oh, of course, General Fusion.
Yes, of course. Why not? I've read that you started this in an old station converted into a garage. Is that true? Really?
Well, the first place I lived on a little island off Vancouver. Vancouver is a big city, and there's a little ferry boat going on a little island called Bowen Island. And I started it there. So the used garage that pumped gas for the car, it was disused. So it was all growing grass in there and everything. So I rent that, and I started my first prototype in this old garage on Bowen Island because then I didn't have to commute anywhere. And eventually I make a small machine that was making a little bit of fusion, a tiny bit, but that was enough to raise some money and get going. But yeah, it's true. I started in a garage on Bowen Island.
Wow. And nobody thought you were crazy. What were you doing in this garage? So what happened to you in your mind? You said, okay, let's try fusion.
Everybody thought I was crazy, including my wife. She said, I'm leaving this nice, big, well-paid job doing laser printer, and I start this fusion company with zero salary. So that was not well seen. But anyway, gotta follow your dream from time to time. So that's what happened at the beginning.
I know, compared to fusion, laser printing is boring, yes. So how did you convince investors and banks to back you up?
Well, that's always a big battle. So at the beginning, I got a bit of investment from friend and family, a couple of $100,000 to make my first little prototype. I was not pulling a salary, so just the price of the gear. And then when that works a little bit, a couple of neutrons coming out, I decided to make a bigger company out of it. First, I hired some guy that knew a bit about business, a CEO, because I'm a scientist with gears and screwdriver. I don't really like all this business. So I hired this guy, and him, and a bit with my help, we started going around, and we convinced some little investor to put a bit of money. And then those investors are a bit like sheep. When you manage to get a few in, then there's more that comes in, and then
Flocking.
we started, and we raised a fair amount of money by now. So now we're a company about 160 people. We've raised, I don't know
Wow.
what, like 200 million maybe so far, something like that.
Yeah, well done,
Maybe
well
a bit
done.
more.
Right, so Michelle,
Yeah.
let's say 10 years from now, we succeed in producing fusion energy at scale. What does it mean for the energy sector? What are the implications?
Well, hopefully they will stop running those damn coal plants that belch all sorts of pollution and CO2. So they will buy those power plants and run them and make the electricity for everybody. And it will be much less pollution thanks to that. And that would be fantastic. Now, the problem is it's not going to happen overnight. Like the infrastructure of energy on the world is enormous. So it will take quite a long time for them to, dismantle, stop down their coal power plant and start the fusion power plant. But hopefully, if we're cost competitive and we can make energy with no pollution and no global warming and no
Right.
CO2, this will hopefully take over the all production of power on the planet. But that will be a long time, because they've built those plants. They don't want to turn them off. They would lose a lot of money. So they will probably run their old plant for a bit before they install new one.
And what about an energy mix alongside fusion?
A lot of people like solar and wind. So presently we're installing quite a bit of solar and wind, but because they fluctuate all the time, it's difficult to have all the grid running on that. So you can run solar and wind to 20, 30% of the grid, but not a lot more than that. If you have more solar and wind than 20, 30%, it's difficult to keep the grid on all the time because of the fluctuation. So I think that in the next bunch of years, right now solar and wind is like 1 or 2% of the world's energy. And people will install a lot of solar wind on the next bunch of years, up to 20% of the grid or something. And by then, fusion will kick in, and we'll probably be able to. So I would say there will be 20, 30% of wind and solar, and the rest will be fusion.
So fusion energy can be very critical in our fight against climate change.
Absolutely, because as I say, this wind and solar is very difficult. It's called base load. It's difficult to produce power steadily. It goes up and down and up and down, and the demand goes up and down, and it's difficult to meet. There's storage, but storage right now is very expensive. If storage become very, very cheap, perhaps that would increase the percentage that you can put in. But in my opinion, it'll be solar and wind, 20, 30%, and balanced fusion. That's where we're going to go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michel. That was fantastic, really fascinating. And I'll let you go skiing now. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Hey, Alexi, what's up? It's good to see you again.
Hi, Asha. So today we're talking about energy, right? And we know that there's a lot of groundbreaking projects are trying to tackle maybe the most important challenge of all time.
One of the most critical topics of our times, indeed.
And it was really hard for me to only select a few, but I did my best.
Okay, let's go for it.
So the first one is called Waterlight, and it's a fully recyclable lamp that can produce up to 45 days of light with just half a liter of seawater.
45 days, do you realize this is a revolution? It's going to change the lives of people.
It's amazing for people that don't have access to, power grid or electricity.
There's so many of them, believe me.
The second one is called Better Battery, and they're doing the most positive batteries in the world. So obviously it's efficient, it's high efficient, but it's also 100% neutral carbon, and it's sustainable.
You mean we can recycle it?
Exactly, it's
Because
fully
that's
recyclable.
the big problem with batteries, the recyclability. But so this is what you mean, it's completely sustainable. You can recycle it.
Definitely, and
That's a great innovation.
And I love the approach because basically we still need to use batteries to use our equipment, right?
Absolutely. And one more.
And the last project is called Aptera. And it's the world's first solar electric vehicle that don't need to use resource for daily use.
You mean you don't need to plug it to recharge. It recharges itself.
Exactly. If you drive less than 60 kilometers a day, the sun basically takes care of charging your batteries.
That's fantastic.
How amazing is that?
But that's great. I think I love it. That's for me.
But what I wanted to show you today is this. And it's a project that I love, and it's called the Hibiscus Basic by Pentaform.
What is this? It looks like a keyboard.
Exactly. So they're working on what they call powerful computing. So it's a super powerful computer all packed up in this little keyboard that you can basically plug in any screen to get going.
You mean you have all the functionalities that you find in all the computers that we see today.
Exactly.
And more?
Exactly. But the most incredible thing about this is that it's been completely designed around sustainability.
Okay.
So it's smaller than traditional computers, so it uses less resources. It's fully made of recycled plastics.
Ooh.
And also it's as efficient as a light bulb. So it consumes 75 less persons than traditional computers.
Right, it must be expensive.
Well, guess how much it costs?
All right, more than a normal computer, I would say. What, 1,500 euros?
No.
1,000 euros?
Not even close. It only costs 100 euros.
This is sick.
It's crazy. And you can do everything that you could do with a normal computer. So what we see here is still in development, right? It's still improving. But this is the last prototype that we have here on the set before the final product. But if you're interested in seeing the final product, we might be able to try it out in June at VivaTech.
All right, I want to try it after the show. And if you want to try it, join us in June, right? This is where all the innovations will be showcased. I'm very excited about what's coming up.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so Alex, anyway, thank you. It's always great to discover all these mind-blowing innovations every week, and looking forward to see you next week. So if you are a startup watching us right now and you would like to join us at VivaTech next June, apply for the Startup Challenges now. Thanks to our partners LVMH, Orange, La Poste, RATP, Manpower, and Huawei, we offer you the opportunity to win a challenge at VivaTech 2022. Hurry up, it's closing on March 4th. Click on the link below. So if you don't have your ticket, don't panic, go get your ticket. They're on sale right now, almost half price, killer price, won't last forever. So ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to conclude this episode. We hope that you liked it, you enjoyed it as much as we did, and really enjoyed the new innovations that you've seen. I'll see you next week, but right now I leave you with Michel in the Speakeasy. Hell of a funny guy, you will see. See you next week.
It's for my drone, for the picture from my drone to go on my phone. They were a little app for that. 1,000. The people that keep going, like I kind of like Elon Musk and SpaceX. The guy is always a bit late, but he finishes his thing and the rocket eventually flies. So the people that keep on hacking on difficult problems, I admire that. I would fix global warming. Ha ha ha. Remote. As I said, I'm in a ski resort right now.